Take it away, Rob.
Hi guys, I'm Rob. Nice to meet you. I'm an Azure architect. Long time with gosh, on the Microsoft Cloud, about 10 years. You're getting me tonight compliments of Bill Zach, because about 10 years ago this December, I attended one of these meetings and I was working for a local startup here in town, and before that working for Hospital Corporation of America for about 18 years. But I came to this group to learn more about Azure about 10 years ago. And Bill said to me, hey, you know a lot about Azure. Why don't you apply for a job at my company? And so I did, and I was hired about a week later, and I've been at that same company for about 10 years now. It was originally a company called N3 Results. It's 2 years ago, it was purchased by Accenture. My primary role is as an Azure architect with Accenture. I'm mostly dedicated the last few years exclusively to Microsoft. The last 2.5 years, I've been working with Microsoft Philanthropy. And this year alone, Bill, you'll get a kick out of this. Working for Microsoft Philanthropy, I wasn't really required to renew a lot of my certifications. But this spring, part of my job role switched over to the ISV Success Program. And the requirements were that I had to get a couple of my certs up to date. So this year, Bill, I've passed AZ 305, AZ 104, AZ 500, and yesterday I passed AI 900. So it's been a little of a crazy ride this year. But tonight we're going to be presenting on my current program that I work on, one of the two, which is the ISV Success Program, which is this program. And it's all about bringing independent software vendors into the Azure marketplace, as well as the app source. So when we talk commercial marketplace, there are really 3 marketplaces, but I'm only working on 2. One is Windows. I'm not working that one. The other one is Azure Marketplace or App Service. And so tonight, what I'm going to show you guys is kind of a 2-phased approach. Part of that approach will be, this is what the ISV Success Program is, if you're not familiar with it. And then the other part of it will be, well, gosh, what do I do now that I've been accepted into that program? And what does that program mean? My team of about 70, maybe 75 people globally, we're an intake on-ramp for ISVs all over the globe who are publishing into the marketplace. And what we do is we give them 3 hours each. 1 hour is a discovery session for what their architecture is. 1 hour is a design session if they need it, to where we coach them through making their application better. And then the 3rd hour is actually walking them into the marketplace. 80% of what we bring to the marketplace are software as a service or SaaS offerings, but there are container offerings, VM offerings, and managed application offerings, as well as Azure application offerings. We'll touch on all of that tonight as you have interest. I'd like to get an idea for who I'm talking to. So if you guys could maybe come off mute and tell me who you are, what you do, why you came for tonight, if it's so I kind of know who my audience is.
Okay,
Hello.
go ahead, Miguel.
Oh, yeah. Hi, how you doing? Well, my name is Miguel. I reside in Georgia. I just finished a coding boot camp, and I just saw this popped up on a Meet Me, and I just wanted to get more knowledge in the tech field, since I've just entered the tech field, and
Okay.
I don't really fully understand what this is, but I'm just listening right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey, Ali. I'm sorry, not Ali.
Hi, my name is Ali Shakur. I work for an MSP, but I'm not, but I'm here in a personal capacity. So just to put that out there, I'm in a personal capacity, but I work, in a technical support role for an MSP. But yeah, I wasn't really familiar with, this program. So I was wanting to learn more and see what it's all about.
Okay, perfect.
And we have one more.
Well, we got two. I don't know, Olu.
Oh, did we? No, I thought we got everybody because we.
No, I haven't heard from Olu or CRJ yet.
Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Olu Washio Mustafa, but because of how long my name is, I just tell people to call me Olu. So right now I work as a procurement specialist with Ascension in Nashville, but I'm trying to make a transition into IT, and also I'm just taking my cloud management course online. So when I saw this came up on my application, so I feel like I should just come in to join and also to learn, because I'm just making that transition. So that's why I'm here. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Did I miss anybody? Is there anybody else?
I didn't hear from CRJ.
CRJ, you want to pop in?
Howdy, everybody. My name is Chris Jesse. I'm an IT consultant for South Central Kentucky. I try to attend as many of these Azure meetups as possible. I don't think I've only missed one or two in the past few years. And, no matter the topic, I always learn something new. So I always try my best to attend each one.
Yeah, and
Okay.
if you wanna catch up on things, we put all the meeting recordings on YouTube, so we've got a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely visited it and
Okay,
went through the meetings. Yeah, I've learned a lot from this group.
Okay, guys. So what I think I'm going to do is, Jack, do you want to be able? You might want to see the screen, Jack. If you're sitting behind me. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So couple little interesting tidbits. We're going to jump right in. Bill, to kind of kick things off. I wouldn't be here if Bill hadn't brought me here 10 years ago, and I'm always grateful to Bill. Part of my job at Microsoft, I always like to encourage people, right? So for the last couple of years, I've been working in Microsoft Philanthropy. And Bill, I was approved last week. This time next month, I'll actually be in Munich, Germany with Accenture and with Microsoft. And I'll be working the Net Hope conference for a week, which is where Compassion International, Doctors Without Borders, all the super orgs that come in from all over the world that are nonprofits, they come in for a week to commiserate on what they're doing technically. And I will be there for a week as the specialist for the community training platform, because I spoke on that here, I think about a year ago, and I've become the knowledge expert in the US on the community training platform. And so I was invited by Philanthropy to go to Munich and help to expand that footprint into the super nonprofits. So anyway, that's a little side journey, Bill, but thanks to you, I wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for you. So tonight, what I want you guys to know about is what's called the ISV Success Program. Okay. And Bill, can I copy tech links in here as we go, or
say that again?
can I copy these URLs as we go? How do I do that on Zoom? Is it in the chat? Probably just
maybe
chat.
the best thing to do is put it in chat,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
okay?
There
Yeah,
you go. So there's the page that I'm on, guys. And so what you're going to see here, if you scroll down this page, is the benefits. So the audience here, actually, let me step over to this one first. I'm going to show you this deck. And let me go full screen. So what is the ISV Success Program? Well, for independent software vendors that have an application that they want to publish into the marketplace, the program is designed to encourage and to support them to be able to build, to deploy and publish, and to grow their footprint in the marketplace. And so as part of that program, there are some criteria that the ISV has to have in place. They have to have an app in development. It's a B2B in focus. It's not a B2C. So if you're developing an application for business to customer versus business to business, you're not going to be accepted into the program. The intent is to get your application published in the marketplace and to join the partner network. What's included to drive your technical and business benefits to success? A cloud sandbox, developer tools, one-on-one consults with folks like myself, and go-to-market benefits. I'm going to run through this side pretty quick because this is not the side that I usually do. I'm more on the technical end of the actually publishing. This is where the sales folks would come in and say, here's what the benefits of the program are. Okay. Feel free to interrupt. And Bill, if anybody raises their hand or whatever, just interrupt me because I tend to move pretty quickly. So the ISV Success Program supports the following 4 scenarios. If you're building a new app and it's not yet in the marketplace, if you're doing an app integration with an app that's built on Azure, but it's not yet in the marketplace, an app migration replication. So maybe you've already got it running on AWS or Google or somewhere else, but you'd like to get your app published on Azure as well. And also app modernization for something that's already built on Azure. I'm not going to spend any time on this slide because it's not a slide that I typically have to deal with. This is what I think you should see. So when you build your product, the benefits of the package, if you are approved to get into the program, is for 1 year, entirely free, you're going to get $126,000 of retail value through the ISV Success Program. So what do you get for that? You can see it here. You get $5,000 worth of credits on Azure. You get a standard support plan for $1,200. You get seats on D365, Dynamics 365 for about $40,000 worth of seats. Limited access features for advanced AI and cognitive services through engineering service. Oops. You get M365 E5 developer subscription, 25 seats.
Wow.
You get 20 seats on the GitHub Enterprise Cloud subscription for about $5,000, and you're qualified for 25 seats of Visual Studio licensing, which that's the big one for $75,000, right? Over here underneath skilling and enablement and skilling, I think I'm going to send this presentation to Bill afterwards and let him and give it to you. The part that I do is I'm in this technical advisory piece, right? That's what I was talking to earlier. This design, a one-on-one design session, one-on-one review session, and a one-on-one publishing session. And then once it goes through your publishing in the partner portal, ultimately it goes to validation. It goes to a back-end team where they validate that your app does what you say that it does, and then it meets certain criteria. If it doesn't meet certain criteria, they will send you an email back and say, hey, you didn't meet these thresholds. You need to address this before we'll validate your product. For the expanded benefits package, let me see if I can take you a little bit further. Let's see what I want you to see. I think there's one, thought I saw it. Yeah, right here. So essentially, what we're talking about, though, is transactable offers, okay? So really, you have to be creating something that is a transactable offer. Now, what's a transactable offer? It means people are buying your application in the marketplace. They may be subscribing to it as a user, or they may be having it deployed into their Azure subscription / tenant. And that's generating consumption for Microsoft. That's generating revenue for the other side as well. Any questions so far on, I'm not going to go through this last part. Any other questions so far on that particular slide deck for where we start? Okay. So when you go to, I guess my screen's still sharing, right, Bill?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just making sure.
Then back to that first screen.
Yeah, that's okay. That's where I want to be. All right. So when you go through, I think I posted this link. Did I post this link?
Let's
did,
see.
right?
Yeah, something in the chat. Yep.
It should be program benefits, right? So how do you apply for the program? Well, when you go to that link and you go down to the bottom, you're going to find join now. So if you open that tab, this is where you would go in and you would fill out an online form to apply for the program. So you would check whatever applies. In this case, I'm going to say these three things. Then I'm going to go to the next screen. At least I hope I am. Come on. Okay, down a little bit. Here's the key. If you select my audience is business to consumer, you will be rejected from the program.
Mhm.
If you select business to business, you're going to be more than likely accepted as long as you meet all the criteria, right? Is it intended for repeatable sales? Yes or no? You're just going to go through here and fill this form out. You'll submit it, and then it basically goes to the team that validates that you're actually going to be legitimate. You have to have an MPN ID because you have to be a Microsoft partner. There's some criteria there, right? So that's the on-ramp for how you do, how you get accepted into the ISV program. Now, for me tonight, this is the holy grail of app publishing. Okay. Bill, I don't even know if you know, have you ever seen Mastering the Marketplace?
What was the question, Rob?
Have you ever seen Mastering the Marketplace?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, this is new stuff for a lot of us. That, you know, for those of us who've been around for what seems like forever, we work in Azure all the time, but if we don't have a reason to be publishing, we don't necessarily know about the marketplace. Now, for those of you who are already working in Azure, and you have an Azure tenant,
Mhm.
you would go to the marketplace, and what you may never have noted, now normally you would just, hey, I'm going to go look for an app, whatever it is, right? I don't care if it's like human resources or something like that. I don't even know. I'm just sticking something in, right? And if I search off of it, here's all the publishers who've published SaaS applications, managed service applications, virtual machine applications, right? But maybe you never noticed this private marketplace and private offer management over here on the left-hand side.
Cool.
I had worked in it for years and I never noticed that. So what that is when you go into Mastering the Marketplace, this is the learning path for how you would publish your application on Azure, okay? And there's a nice, if you go down here to choose your offer type, these are the offers and the grid that I always drive people to, because basically your offer type is going to be either SaaS, container, virtual machine, or Azure application offer, right? Now, the key to understanding what you're looking at right here is this: publisher tenant versus customer tenant, right? So this is for publishers. So I'm an ISV. I'm going to be publishing my application in the marketplace. And I'm asking myself the question, hey, am I going to publish my application in my own Azure subscription as a software as a service, or am I going to be publishing in the customer's tenant, right? If I'm going to be publishing in the customer's tenant, then I have to look at, okay, is it only compute resources? If my application only uses containers and virtual machines, then it's going to be one of these two offers. If my application is in fact a managed application, an Azure application offer, and I'm deploying with an ARM template, then it's going to be this one here, which in my book is really a managed application, okay? A managed application, and I'll show you that in a second if you're not familiar with it, is really, it's an ARM template, so it's a bundle of different resources wrapped up into one application All the resources sit on Azure. And so the example that I always like to give people is, in fact, the community training platform, because I'm super familiar with it, as an example of a managed application. Okay. So Microsoft is the publisher on this one. It's still in preview. It's an Azure application. It said that for you right there. And so when you go in to create, now the publisher creates this. So when you look at mastering the marketplace over here in the publisher's portal, they're going to be creating the overview that you're reading here, the plans and the pricing, the usage. They're creating all that in the partner portal because they're an ISV and they have a portal that they log into where they create their offers. It shows up here. So in the case of a managed application, it's an ARM template. And basically, when you go in to launch your application on Azure, you're going to answer some questions which are part of that ARM template. So that's why I like to choose this example, okay? So this is what a published offer looks like as an Azure application. It's going to run as a managed application on Azure. The publisher is going to support upgrades. More than likely, there have been some changes in the last few weeks. So if I come back over here to my original offer type, back to here, so 80% of the people that we see who are independent software vendors who are publishing in the marketplace, they're publishing SaaS offers. Okay. So if you think about, hey, here's the offer type, you'll notice that here's the offer types: managed application, containers, SaaS, virtual machines. You would come into here and you would find all the documentation that you need for your SaaS offer overview, for the technical overview, for purchasing, everything that you need. Very much so the webhook and the landing page and the metered billing overview. Now, you ask me, gosh, well, what is that? Well, when someone subscribes to your offer, what happens is there's a webhook. So if you publish a SaaS offering in the marketplace, so I've got, I don't know, an app in the marketplace, self-driving cars, whatever it is, right? But I want it to run in the publisher subscription, which in this case would be me because I'm publishing. But for example, Bill Zach is going to subscribe to my SaaS offer. What the webhook does is it sees that Bill subscribed to my offer, and it basically creates this. Let me see if I can show it. So you can see here is where it succeeded. It just kind of goes through the webhook events, and then the publisher can approve or deny the request based off of that webhook, right? It can be implemented in any language on any stack and hosted anywhere as a public HTTPS endpoint. So I was going to see I think they've updated this a little bit, but you'll see here's where it basically, the webhook kicks in, the person subscribed, it creates a message, it queues it up, it sends it over, it provides everything on the back end necessary, and it sends a note over to the publisher's portal to say, hey, Bill subscribed, do you want to approve or deny? That's what the webhook does, okay? Now the landing page, and you'll see all of that in here. It's very well documented. And there's a hands-on lab in the GitHub repository. Now, if you were to do like a virtual machine offer, let's do a managed application offer. If you go to the bottom, you'll actually find labs, right? Here's a lab for publishing it. Here's how to create the managed application deployment package. Everything that you need is here so that you can walk through that lab and it'll do everything that you need it to do. Now, what metered billing does is when you create your plans and your offers, let me see if I can show that to you. Different menu. So when the SaaS accelerator, what it does is it's a fully functioning accelerator that enables you to, it will create for you the webhook, the landing page. It'll help you out with the billing, with that metered billing, setting all that up for you so that there's no coding involved. It does it for you, right? Because when you go to publish your offer, it's going to ask you what's the URL of your webhook, what's the URL of your landing page. The SaaS accelerator builds all that out, and it builds the publisher's portal that you would log into so that you could see who's buying your application, who's unsubscribing from your application, okay? And the partner's portal, if you're a legitimate ISV, what happens with this is what the partner portal looks like when it comes up. It's going to force me probably to sign out and back in again. But when you are brought into the ISV program, you are brought into the Microsoft Partner Center, right? Now, you'll notice that I don't have any offers in here because this is not, that's my Microsoft login, but I needed a test area to be able to show you. So here's a different login that lets me log into a partner portal where we have demo offers already created, right? So now I have this new tab for marketplace offers. And you'll notice that my team has created tons of offerings. These are all, most of them in draft, preview, whatever. This is where the publisher would log in to create a new offer. And if you remember that flow chart that we looked at earlier, here's your offer types, right? So if you were going to create software as a service, you're going to have to put in, you create a bogus offer ID, an alias, and you walk through it. But if I just choose, for example, this is a contact me only one, it looks like. Here's what the publisher or the creator of the application that they're going to publish. This is their workflow. And if you'll notice in this one, this is a flat rate. And so he's got like a bronze, a silver, a gold, a platinum. Those are different plans for his SaaS offer. So when you create an offer, you can create it as kind of like per user. You can create plans so that it's a monthly bill. You can create things so that you could say, if I have an OCR application and on my monthly plan for my OCR application, my application basically will allow you to scan in whatever you set the threshold at, 100,000 pages, and it'll do OCR for you, right? But if you hit 100,001, that's where the metered billing kicks in. So the metered billing would be, you would assign a charge for that 100,001th scan, right? And then you would set up whatever that charge is. In here, you'll notice as you go through here, it's a GUI driven wizard. And depending on what options that you choose as you go through here, these menus options on the side may change. So what you're seeing under the covers in tonight's meeting is really how Microsoft works from a business perspective. This isn't about how do I write my publish or how do I write my application. This is about how do I create and get it into the marketplace so that it works once I get it there. Now, the ISV success program is really focused on transactable offers. And this sentence right here explains what a transactable offer is. It means that you are allowing and you would like Microsoft to host the transactions on your behalf, which means they're going to do the billing for you on your behalf. And for that, they're going to take a 3% commission. I think Apple charges something like 30% is what I've heard. I can't validate that, but I've heard that. So when you think about, hey, you mean all I got to do is publish the application that I've written into the marketplace and I'm only going to have to pay a 3% overhead to do that and let Microsoft process all that billing for me, that's actually a great rate. When you set up your offer, you can set up test drives. You can see this here. So you could set up a test drive. You can set up things like 1 month free. You set all that up in this publishing component here. Now, categories and industries are important because, for example, if I go over to AppSource, AppSource uses categories, industries, and products. So if I'm looking, for example, for something in finance, I can filter and say, hey, show me all the apps that are on AppSource that are for financial people, right? Well, that's where these categories and these industries kick in. The industries drive when people are looking in the marketplaces, how to find your application, right? Now, the other thing is, the categories, what they do is in AppSource and in Marketplace, they define whether you see, for example, your software vendor's application in both places. So AppSource looks like this. And I still have the portal open. Nope. If I go to here, and again, if I go to the marketplace, what I'm showing you here is the difference. These are applications that are running on Azure that are really where the technical people are going to go to, the CTO of the company. He's probably by default going to go here, and he's going to look for the application that someone has published that his company is going to purchase, right? Over here on AppSource, these are typically going to be more business-oriented people who are going to be looking on AppSource. So if you want to be published in both, what you have to do is you go to here, and as you scroll down, you'll notice that here are your offer types: Azure Application Container, Virtual Machine, SaaS, right? But you'll notice that only SaaS is available in both Azure Marketplace and AppSource, right? The others are not. So when you're in this categories page, on the publisher's side, you can actually add a category that's like analytics, data insights, and then you can add a second category that might be AI and machine learning bot apps. And when you add those two categories into your offer here, if your offer is a SaaS offer and you add a category from one of each of those two indexes that I was showing you, it will cross-publish in both marketplaces, right? Now, you'll notice that for the other offers, if we go back up here, you can't do that. But you can see kind of, now, if we go to what kinds of offers are there, well, really there's a contact me, there's a consulting, and then there are transactable. So when you're in the marketplace and you're publishing to the marketplace, there are different kinds of offers that you could publish, right? Now, we've been talking at this level here. What's interesting, and it's very important to kind of go in here and look at like general partner topics, right? It gives you global coverage, so you can add the currencies, the markets that you want to be published in, all that kind of stuff. Now, the interesting thing is there are private offers and private plans, which is what I'm showing you here. Okay. So if you're going to publish a private offer or a private plan, back over to where that was. If you're a startup, you may be scratching and clawing just to find a couple of small customers. Well, you're probably not going to charge a small customer the same monthly expense that you might charge a General Motors or a Ford for, right? I had one recently with one of the major auto companies. We walked them through it, and within a couple of weeks, they sold $1 million contract through the marketplace to one of the major car companies, right? So the marketplace goes all the way from the mom and pop shops who might need like some kind of accounting software to healthcare applications to the car industries or just whatever it is, right? But private offers, what they allow you to do, and there are two different kinds. There's private offers and private plans. So they're different. You'll see here, I was talking about it earlier. You have public plans that are gold, silver. You can name your plan whatever you want to name it. You name it as the publisher what you want to name it, right? But private offers may contain multiple plans from different public offers. So you may want to, for a specific customer, you may want to offer that customer a special pricing plan that nobody else sees. And the way that that's done is private plans, they use the tenant ID. So when you're in the publisher's portal, back over to the right file where I was. Yep. When you're in here, there's a question that if you want to build out a private plan, it's going to ask you to put in the tenant ID from the Azure subscription that you would pull from this side from your customer. And when you build your offer in the private marketplace, you would add that tenant ID. Now, a private offer uses the billing ID. And the reason that it uses the billing ID, I'll go back to my car example. So Toyota may have 20 different engineering departments that build one car, right? Maybe one side's focused on engines, one side's focused on transmissions, one side's focused on design, right? But in the same Azure tenant, they may have departmental billing IDs, right? For engines, transmissions, I forgot what the other thing I said it was, right? So when you publish a private offer, you pull the departmental billing ID, and when they go to look in their private marketplace, the private offers would show up to only those people who have either the billing ID that was associated with the published offer when it was created, or if it's the tenant ID for all those departments within Toyota, you would pull the tenant ID associated to the private plan. And now anybody that works for Toyota that has a subscription or user ID with the appropriate user roles can go in and buy that offer from the marketplace. So Bill, I think that's kind of the highlights. I know that's super fast. I'd like to maybe open up the floor for folks to, I tried to hit, here's what the program is. Here's all the documentation that exists to be able to go in and do it. And here's what we do on the back end to help people get to the other side.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, Bob.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Comparing it to something like an Apple store or something else, it's much more complex and sophisticated.
It's very, very complex and sophisticated. And there used to be until 2 weeks ago, and you were around for a long time, Bill. Did you used to know David Starr at Microsoft?
Yeah, I think so. Sounds familiar.
Dave's the guy who is the architect basically for all of it, right? So he's been doing office hours on a regular basis. But I think used to, you could go sign up for webinars and you could see all the recorded ones from the marketplace. But I noticed about a week ago that they pulled that back out of there. And so I think what they're doing is they're leaning on the published documentation today, leaning on the teams that I work with to get people through. and they're freeing up his time to continue building out the back end for how people can be successful
Okay.
to get their applications to the marketplace.
Why don't we open up for questions if anybody has any questions? Gonna run out and publish some applications, right? Any
Go
questions?
ahead, Ollie.
Okay.
First, a great presentation. I really learned something new that I didn't know about. So great thing to have for knowledge, and so thank you for that. But my question for you, sir, is like you were saying in the beginning, I correct me if I'm wrong, but like they kind of have to pitch. Like, is there like a is it like a low acceptance rate for software vendors, or is it kind of like a high acceptance rate? Or
As long as you meet the criteria, as far as I know, you're going to be accepted into the program. You just have to meet the criteria. You've got to be developing an application or moving an application. It's got to be business to business. You've got to have an MPN ID. I didn't post that, I don't think, but there is, well, on the page that I gave you in the beginning, you'll find all the criteria there. It'll explain all that. Now, the one thing, Ollie, that I didn't touch on, because I think you're in it during one of your lives is an MSP, right?
yeah, but I'm in a personal capacity. I have to put that out
No,
there.
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So just recently within the partner portal, when you create your offer, there's now a new checkbox. If you want a cloud service provider to a CSP, if you want a cloud service provider to sell your application on your behalf. So what you can do in that world is essentially you go in, you create your offer, you set up all your billing terms, but there's another tick box for multi-party selling. And what that does is it creates a URL that you send to that CSP so that they can sell your product with a markup that the CSP can earn commission off of.
That's impressive. Any more questions?
The key here is get set. If you're a developer, that's kind of why I wanted to come tonight. If you're a developer and you're working in a small startup company that's an ISV and you don't know about the program, do it, right? Just go ahead and get involved and see how far down the road you go, because like I say, I got 30 people on my American team. Oh, let's see here, 30 people on the Americas team, which would be Canada, the US, Latin America, and South America. Just that one team. And we stay busy all day long helping people, continentally speaking, who are driving applications into the marketplace. There's another team for Europe, and of course, there's another team for Asia. And to Bill, for you to know, Lucas Romeo on the Accenture side, he now lives in Lisbon, and he is coordinating all three since he's in the center. And JC, who you know,
yep.
He and I are working together. He works with me on Tech for Social Impact, and he is now one of the two team leads for the Americas team, helping all the new folks who are onboarding and coming through the process that work for us. Cool. JC, for the rest of the guys on the line, used to be Bill and I's boss. He stepped out for a while, then he came back, and now he's kind of co-team leading with Luis. So
those were the days.
Those were the days. So I think that's good. If you guys got anything else.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we can wrap it up. Unless you didn't want to give them. You've given them a lot already today, so.
It's drinking out of a fire hose. I know it is. It took me 3 or 4 months to kind of get my feet on the ground.
But at least they know where to look. That's the important thing.
That's exactly right.
And by the way, if you think you're developing something that's useful, sell it.
Exactly. Doesn't cost anything.
Right.
All right, Bill, I'm going to sign out. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Rob. And thank
you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. All right. Take care. Bye.